I wanted to touch on, or rather, really talk to you about this concept of going no contact with family members who have aggrieved you. We're not talking about going no contact with family members who have abused you, who have really either sexually, physically, emotionally, psychologically really abused you. No, we're talking going no contact because you don't like the way somebody voted. You don't like the way somebody doles out advice. You know, it could be minor things. Now, this video has gone viral. We're gonna show it for anyone who hasn't seen it. This is, again, one of the darkest forces at work today. One Oprah Winfrey moderating a room full of people in New York City who say that they've gone no contact with their family for years and they're happier for it. We're going to take a look, and then Sam, I'm going to ask you to get into it. Here we go.
So maybe you all can relate in some way to this growing phenomenon known as going no contact. That's when a person cuts off ties to someone in their family. A Cornell University study now shows that almost 1/3 of Americans are actively estranged from a family member.
Sam, what do you make of this, and what do you think explains the way in which this has caught fire among the general population?
I coined the phrase no contact actually in the 1980s to describe a set of 27 strategies that apply to a situation where you have an abuser as a family member. Mm. So these are 27 strategies, are pretty complex. I'm not going into all this. At no point did I or anyone else imply that no contact is applicable to situations where you simply disagree with someone or you don't feel comfortable with someone. So we make a distinction in clinical psychology or family psychology. We make a distinction between no contact, which is a valid mainstream strategy nowadays, mainstream strategy for coping with abuse, and estrangement, which is a completely different ballgame.
What's the difference?
Estrangement is when you are unwilling to invest the necessary resources in order to maintain a relationship, or at the very least an interaction with a family member. So, and it doesn't have to be a blood family member, could be a spouse, could even be a boyfriend or girlfriend, someone in an intimate setting. So where intimacy is involved, we have estrangement.
So estrangement is there something that somehow feels more valid about estrangement versus no contact? Is there something that feels less finite about estrangement than no contact?
Estrangement is a form of self-indulgence. It's a form of self-indulging oneself. It's a form of entitlement, in effect. And in this sense, ironically, estrangement is narcissistic. It's when you decide that the minimal investment necessary in order to maintain a frictionless environment where you are able to accommodate other people's points of view, other people's behavioral modes, other people's quirks and frailties and vulnerabilities and weaknesses and demands on your time, on other resources. When you decide that all these are too much for you, that you're entitled to special treatment, that therefore you are superior morally and ethically to other people, and that any form of compromise is the equivalent of a surrender. So estrangement usually involves a power play. It's a form of a power play where you withdraw, you disengage as a manipulative tactic, as a way to exert and exhibit power, to show how strong you are, how superior you are.
Interesting. So what's going on with these, what has become not only extremely acceptable, but laudable means of disengagement. I think there's a sort of, it's a coalescing of two distinct things that have risen in the culture, I think, to a dangerous degree. One, the culture of narcissism. I think it's been amplified by social media and finding your hives and your bubbles and living in there. And then it's political. And I really think, this is just my opinion from what I observe, the election of Trump in 2016 really gave rise to this idea of no contact, that there are virtue signalers who believe to have any relationship with a family member who may have voted for Trump is to sully oneself, to be emboldening, racism. He's Hitler, basically. He's Hitler, right? And so you see, at least in America, I read these venerated advice columnists who've been syndicated for years who have bought into this and who promulgate this idea. They'll get letters from people saying, this Thanksgiving, my MAGA voting uncle is going to be there, and I just don't think I can sit at the same table. And they're told, you're absolutely right. You're defending democracy and protecting your own moral center, so go do it. I mean, Sam, can you talk about this?
There is a strand of narcissism known as prosocial or communal narcissism, where self-indulgence, selfishness, and entitlement are cloaked, they are disguised as something commendable.
Yes.
Socially and otherwise. And it is a form of narcissism. But I think there are other trends at play which preceded even the rise of narcissism, the recent rise of narcissism. And I think the foremost amongst which is atomization.
Atomization,
where people have been rendered self-sufficient by technology. They don't need other people anymore.
Oh, yes.
And so other people are perceived as a burden.
Yes, because they have needs and wants.
Yes, because they have needs and wants and demands and expectations even.
Yeah.
Even unexpressed expectations. Their very presence is perceived as intolerable and burdensome.
We all want the best food for ourselves and our families, but it's hard to know what is safe. Food labels can be misleading. Introducing Olive. Olive is the clean living shortcut on your phone. 100% independent, credible, transparent, no brand pay to play. A simple scan on Olive looks beyond macros and marketing to flag ultra processing, additives, seed oils, and contaminants with a comprehensive database you can trust. Proof, not promises. Olive recently completed the largest independent baby food study ever. 300 plus products tested for lead and arsenic in ISO accredited labs. Real tests, real results. Moms, has your baby's food been contaminated with lead? Simply scan with Olive to find out. If you are frustrated by reading confusing food labels and ingredients you can't even pronounce, try Olive. Listeners of The Nerve get an exclusive 7-day free trial. Try Olive. Scan your pantry. Make sure you are feeding your family the very best. Download Olive now in the App Store. Olive, 100% independent, credible, transparent. Scan, swap, exhale.